have to move around a lot.
Shot didn't work.
They moved it. It's next week now, because the doctor had an emergency. And it is good physical therapy, so I feel a little bit better right now. That'll mark right. Washed off.
All right, so we are recording it.
All right. I have 7 p.m. and I am going to go ahead and call to order the Kyle Arts and Cultural Commission meeting. With that said, we're going to go ahead and do roll call. Madam Secretary, if you call your roll call, please.
Vanessa Westbrook here, Tara Monroe, Brooke Pelafon
Here.
Vicky Freitas,
Here.
Michael Lynch,
Here.
Colleen Tierney,
Here.
and Amber.
Hi.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, with that said, we're now going to open up to citizens' comment periods with the Arts and Cultural Commission. At this time, we ask citizens if they're interested in speaking. They now have the opportunity to do so. We'll recognize you. You have about 3 minutes to communicate with us. Doesn't necessarily mean that we will either act upon or respond to what you're saying, but we do welcome all comments. And I see we have 2 people in the audience. Thank you for joining us. And I will start with you.
Yes, hello again. I'm Melissa. I've been living in Kyle since 2007, and it had been brought to my attention from a fellow colleague that y'all were looking to fill a seat, and I filled out an application and I'm interested, and just thought I'd sit in and see what y'all are about, and that's my purpose of being here today. And I would love to help bring more art into the community and collaborate with the community resource.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right. And you, ma'am?
Hi, I'm Candace Patch. I was filling out an application. It's like, yes, we need to get going on wonderful Kyle.
That's right.
It's an amazing small town. Amazing small town. I do have some comments about from the last meeting on the puzzle program that you were looking at. I'm actually really concerned about that, having an outside artist come in and do that. You can actually get puzzles created for $500, $7.88. I mean, this is really common. A lot of communities do it for different events and stuff. I think it'd just be more cost effective to do it at a lower volume and be able to do that. That way you can get the community to, throw it out to the schools, throw it out to organizations. Instead of doing cultural events just once a year, we can do cultural events year-round and be able to expand on that, and then be able to create sets and all of that wonderful stuff. And I noticed on some prior minutes and such, there was a mural that is being looked at, but I wasn't able to find any more information as to the status of that. But I'm really loving the idea of Kyle being able to do some phenomenal murals, and that we can do that with local artists and just have that bringing in. I noticed that in Brenham, they've got some amazing murals. Maybe having that available. I loved your comment when those people came in for the festival. They wanted to do more things in Kyle, but it just wasn't here for them. And if they could maybe search murals and have selfies and bring that in, that would be amazing. This is my 31st house that I'm in, so a lot of my towns have actually been smaller than Kyle, and a lot of communities have painted the electrical outlets and the electrical boxes. We can have those as cultural. We can have them identified as these are flowers for Texas. This is the city of Kyle. This is the word Kyle. This is, and give that to the community. The other thing you had commented on having some limited assistance and volunteers and such. And an art league truly is a way to get large volumes of community members involved, not just in the city limits of Kyle, but on the outskirts of Kyle as well, and be able to get more numbers, being able to provide assistance and money. Money being the big thing, and more help. So just say that.
Amen. Appreciate you. All righty, with any other comments we have, there's nobody online. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close the citizen comments. And we are going to move to consent items. And our consent item that we have is the approval of the minutes.
Didn't print out the minutes. Let me go do that.
I printed out one, so.
Okay, I'm gonna go make copies real quick.
Okay. All right, then we're gonna move on, we'll come back to number one. Let's go
Are they
on.
provided in the backup? Do they provide minutes in the backup?
What do you
We
mean?
have emailed minutes to us.
There you have.
So you review them?
Yes.
Review them, and so the final one would be one that everybody looks over real quick, and then that's the one we sign off
Okay.
on. So that's the one we sign off. That's why I'm just gonna move this down, next time so we can do that, yeah. All right,
Those are,
so at any rate, when we get the minutes, we'll look over real fast, and then we'll go ahead and approve them, and then from that, they'll be able to be entered into the archives for the public to be able to look at. Remember, we always publish our approved minutes of the meeting, so it's always the meeting after when we look at it. All right, being that said, we'll look at continued business, and the first one that we have is the update on the Kyle Depot Call to Artist Painting event. As you all know that we are now in the home stretch of the Call to Artists Kyle Depot event that we're doing. The paintings are up at City Hall. They are getting some votes. The last day to vote will be May the 28th, which you can do online, but we also have it, I'm sorry, July 28th. And we can, at that time, we'll go ahead, thank you. At that time, we'll be able to go ahead and get a final count. So the votes are coming in. Tara's taking care of that. She's the chair on this project. I'm the co-chair on this. And the only thing that we need to talk about is postcards. We're gonna do one postcard. Originally, we had talked about doing 3, but remember, that was because we thought we were gonna have 30 paintings. Because we only have 8 paintings, we're gonna do 1 postcard. And so once we get through with the voting, the communications department has been contacted. They've been helping us with this. They will take the professional snapshot of the winning picture, and then from there, we will be able to send it on to the printer so that it can be printed. Tara thought that we should go with 2,000 postcards. Remember, this is a budget item that we have, so we have the money sitting aside waiting on this. It's just a decision as to what. Now, originally, we were gonna do 3 paintings and 3 postcards. We're going with 1 now. She suggested 2,000. And remember, the postcards are also gonna be free to the public. So we'll be passing them out at the library, or City Hall, some of the other areas where people come in and out, and they'll get a postcard. The idea was to do a 5x7 postcard, because if someone wanted to actually frame it, they could. And on the other side of the postcard, we'll have a little bit of information about the depot. Down at the very bottom, it will say the Arts and Cultural Commission. And then it'll just be a regular postcard. You know, always the right side is empty, and then the left side is designed for you to send whoever you're gonna send it to. So that's what it's gonna look like. So we'll have a final count again on the 28th, and we'll find out who the winning picture is, and we can move on from there. And then that will close out this project. This one will be done. This one's a little longer haul than we've done with others, considering how we had the official event. And then after that, we started the following month of having 2 months of the public being able to come in and look at the pictures. And the number of votes is over 200. So I was really excited about that. All right. Any questions about the postcard? We'll be wrapping that one up. Okay. All right. On our next. Okay. So let's get back for a minute and go back to consent. Have everybody take a look at the minutes real quick. They're not very long, because that meeting was not a long one. And I'll give you about a minute or so to run through it.
I didn't see anything.
I didn't even want to look at it.
The art box discussion wasn't on there, but I didn't think that needed.
My minutes were front and back. They were like double-sided.
Okay. I'm missing half of it. So
Yeah.
I was like,
You said that, and I was looking, I was like, where is that?
oh, yeah, no worries. I thought I saw it before, that's why I was like, maybe, yeah, okay.
There you go.
Yeah,
There's
okay,
the
we're
project that
fine,
we
yeah,
talked
where we weren't, none of us were in agreement with the land of I love. Spending that kind of money.
Yeah, okay, I thought I saw these in the email and then I was like,
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay,
We're good.
Snuck one in.
I'm good with the minutes.
All right. All right, I'm going to go ahead and ask for approval of the minutes. All those in favor of approving the minutes? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. It's always easy to take care of this, a small group. All righty, then I will get this one signed. This is the third page, so is there the third page and has the front back to add to that?
Right.
Okay. Okay, and there you go. That's been taken care of. Okay, dokie. Next thing on the agenda is the September quilt display. Now, this one is this is a done deal, for the most part. Melody was in charge of this one, and of course, she has resigned. So, whatever goes on with that. But before she left, she got everything in order. The timeline for putting the quilts up has already been spoken with the communications department. They've actually ordered the materials that are needed to hang the quilts, the dimensions of what quilts are going to be hung up, where the quilts are going to be, and the quilt ladies are actually coming on the, they're not doing it that first week of September because of Pie in the Sky. They're going to go with the next week because communications group said that was just too much fun to do, which that made a lot of sense. So they're going to have the quilt display up September the 8th because the week before that is Pie in the Sky and they've got too much to do. So the quilt ladies will be joining Xander, and from what I'm understanding, almost everything has been ordered of what they need. They're going to have 3 different size quilts from what Melody sent to me in the email, and they'll be ready to go as of September the 11th for opening business day. The quilts will be available for the public to come in and view, and they will stay up until the 29th of September. That's a Friday. They're going to go after hours and take the quilts down because that following month they're going to be getting ready for their quilt show. So we'll have another nice exhibit for the public to be able to come see. And I'm really excited because we're looking at fiber art, right? So it's nice that we've had a nice collage of various types of arts for people to come into a public space to see. All right, any questions about that from anybody? Okay. All right then. All right, with that said, that concludes continued business. Looking at new business, there was a request to cancel the August meeting, to give us a break. Been back to school, trying to get last minute traveling and that kind of stuff. The idea is that we cancel the August meeting and then can move forward with the September meeting. And then with that said, I need a motion to cancel the August meeting.
I make a motion to cancel the August meeting.
All right, need a second.
I second.
Okay. All right, any discussion about canceling the August meeting? Okay, I think we're the one group who has continuously met. We've never taken a break. So here's to us taking just a little bit of time off until we get ready to get up and start again. All right, so with that, I'm going to call for the vote. All those in favor of canceling the August meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
All those who are in favor of not, say nay. Okie dokie. So the August meeting will be canceled and we'll have a regular meeting in September, the 3rd Thursday of the month. Okay, so announcements.
Wait, before we go there, I
Yes.
have some new business to bring up.
Okay.
We can't discuss anything that's not been posted on the agenda, yes.
We're gonna ask for it to be on this.
You gonna do
You
an
can ask for
announcement?
it to be.
Well, okay, I have an
You
announcement.
have an
I'll
announcement?
wait and I'll make an announcement.
Okay. All right, so now with that said, we're moving into announcements, informational items in the next meeting. Next meeting will be September the 21st. Informational items, they will have 2 city council meetings in August. I always mention those to you. August 1st and August 15th, they are both on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. If there is a need for you to go to just listen in. And remember, you always have access to channel 10 and looking at the YouTube channel to look at the full live city council meeting from your home. As I always say, in your jammies, if you like. You don't want to be sitting there in public. Okay? All right, so then with that said, we go to announcements.
My announcement is I am resigning effective immediately. I would like to share with you all the reasons why, but on the advice of council, I've been told not to at this time. So I am resigning from the Arts and Cultural Commission effective immediately.
Thank you, ma'am. We appreciate that. Sorry to hear about that. This seems to be a trend with us lately. You know, the Arts and Cultural Commission has done what I think is much to provide art to the public. And, you know, so I'm sorry to hear that. All right.
Yes, and I have an announcement.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sorry to hear that you're resigning. My name is Amber Smites, I'm the Assistant City Manager, and here to report that at the last City Council meeting, they made some changes. They're not official yet because the changes have to come through via ordinance, so we expect to bring those changes August 15th to the council. But the changes were staff liaison right now is in the ordinance, but the library director is the liaison. In the city council recognized that she's got a lot on her plate with the library board and the library. And they said, you know, the arts didn't really fit under the library. Our library does do art, but so does parks. And so they decided to put it under the city manager, and it could be his or her designee. And so right now it looks like that will be me. We'll keep meeting in the library unless we want to, you know, change it to City Hall. But for your September 21st meeting, we'll plan on meeting here in the library. The second change was taking cultural out of the name. So they decided they want to do all the focus on public art and public art only. And so they changed that part of the name, and then they also called you a board, which is more of that's just more of a housekeeping issue versus a commission. And the third thing they changed was removing an ex officio member of this board that would be occupied by a city council member. The feeling of the council was that they didn't want to influence the board, and they did this across the board for all the boards and commissions. They felt like they didn't want to influence, like even their attendance, they felt like would possibly have an impact on y'all's decision making and advising them. So they decided that they would remove that out of the requirement. And y'all, to be fair, they had never even appointed an ex officio member. So
There's never been
So
a liaison.
council member that came and identified herself as being our liaison was not in fact our liaison.
she was not. The
So
council,
even the emails that came that identified her as our liaison and gave us direction was not accurate?
that's not accurate.
Okay.
Correct. They do have, each council member is appointed as on the interview panel for boards and commissions, and they have certain ones that they, so
Right, but that's also new too, because it used to be that.
that is also new.
So when I was appointed, I believe I was the last one to be appointed, that process was a special meeting with an application process. It has since become a closed door. 3 people do the interview, make the decision, and then tell.
We make a recommendation, we do the interview, and then we make a recommendation, and, you know, the city council could tell us, no, they could appoint somebody else, they.
And then can I ask some clarifying questions about, I did watch that board, or city council meeting, I call it in terms. So I did watch the city council meeting. So just to clarify, my understanding is all culture is removed, all art activities, with the exception of putting public art, permanent public art on display in Kyle. That seems to be the only directive. So moving forward, the art board now will only be responsible for making recommendations to the city council about public art that should be on display. Everything else that we've done or planned, no more.
Correct.
Okay, just, do you mind if I just follow up? Sure. I understand. When they talk about public art on display, does that include only visual art, or is that like theater? Is that
No,
considered
ma'am.
public art? Or are they just looking
It's
at
busy.
visual art?
That's just.
Okay, I'm just making sure, I
Yes,
actually
no.
had heard that, okay, and so, okay.
Yes.
So basically, understanding is and the board will review applications and people who want to have their art displayed in Kyle, and then someone will go, and that will be the sole responsibility of the board. No more cultural, no more peace and progress, connections, no more artist events, no more artist receptions, no more trying to bridge the community together. This is specifically just designed at this stage for recommendations for people to put public art permanently in place.
It's a focus on public art. I definitely think bridging relationships with artists would still be, a function of this board.
It didn't sound like that's the direction they went, so we probably want some clarification, because it
Okay.
didn't sound like that was the direction they wanted to go in. Because we've had some artist receptions and had begun discussing, as our commenter said, Candace, we began discussing the Artist League and putting that together as a quarterly event to continue, but it doesn't sound like, it really did not sound, based upon the comments, the back and forth conversation, that there was anything that was going to be done except some more directives on how the art board would choose art, and even look at the public places that it could be placed.
And the math makes so much sense.
So what I could do is at the September 21st meeting, we could have an agenda item that would be brought to you all requesting clarification and direction from the city council on your mission as the new Kyle Arts Board.
Okay,
And then we would put that on the city council agenda, and then they could discuss it.
that'd be great, I think that would help,
Okay.
help with a lot of clarifications to know our specific mission moving forward. I think that's very,
You bet.
very good, especially this coming from city council who we're working with. So then
Absolutely.
we don't have any miscommunication and
Right,
confusion.
they're responsible to give you guys direction, yes.
And do we ask now for things to be put on the agenda for September? Or do we email that?
You can email me or,
Email you? Okay.
yeah, yes. It's
I was just like, I don't know, yeah.
A Schmeitz, SCHMEITS.
SCHMEITS?
Yes,
And
at
she
cityofkyle.com.
should have been on the chain that
On
I
the
sent
channel,
you,
yeah,
so
let's
you
try
can
to
look
go
for
back
that.
and think, yeah,
Yes.
okay.
One point of clarification I wanted to make, the chart that showed the terms for, and I forgot to mention, in case anybody didn't know, Stephanie Murray has also resigned
Oh, that wasn't
from
on
the
there.
Art Commission.
I'm just gonna make an announcement.
And the reason why I only brought that up, and Stephanie can still do that, is that on the chart, what seat were you?
I was 6'6".
It said seat 6 secretary. But because every fiscal year, the officers are elected, it doesn't necessarily mean that seat 6 is a secretary, and that's what it looks like. So I'm asking for a
Okay.
point of clarification, just take that off,
Bet.
right? So I believe it was one of the council folks who actually wanted to know what was what she said. She said one of the commissioners asked her when was the chair no longer in the role of the chair. And to answer that question, every fiscal year, the commission of the board actually elects the chair, the secretary, and the vice chair. That happens every year. It could be the same person if they so decide to, but it doesn't have to be.
Correct.
But that is how that worked, and that was something we could clarify in a meeting. So,
Correct.
all right?
Yep.
Other than that, okay, Stephanie, I'm sorry for taking your
No,
thunder.
it's okay. Like Vanessa said, I resigned, so I'm not really interested right now in discussing why, but I did write a resignation letter, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, again, another loss. It is a shame. But,
Can I ask a question for clarification around not having a secretary in the spot on the website?
We'll work on it
Okay.
offline.
Okay, thank you.
because like I said, it just looks like if you're in spot 6 and you have to be the secretary, and that's just not the case. Because it doesn't occur until the first meeting in October, when that's made, so. I mean, then it would go up because you have about a person's name, but prior to that, it wouldn't be. Because right now it just says vacant, and it says secretary, so that's not correct. All right, so I am at a point where we are getting ready to conclude the meeting. Any other announcements? All right then. Well, if I can get a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I will motion to adjourn the meeting.
All right,
I second.
and we have a second. And I'm going to go ahead and say that all those in favor of adjourning the meeting, it is now 7:25. Say aye.
Aye.
All right, any nays?
It's 7:23, right?
All
Thank y'all
right.
so much for making sure I stay in compliance so I can make it through slaughter without making